10 recap. Woo woo.
Day 10.
Indie Life Adventures on our second cup of sake. So maybe it'll be a little more lighthearted and fun and upbeat. We will see. But yeah, we're in Kyoto in the Hyatt Place hotel. And we're going to tell you all about our day. Which our day was kind of simple because we didn't even leave our own hotel till we checked out at 3:30 from the Intercontinental Osaka. And prior to checking out, I mean, honestly, we had the amazing buffet breakfast. So good. So good. And then we went to the 10th floor and filmed our day 9 recap. We're probably wearing the same clothes. Sorry about that. 2 videos in the same day. And then, yeah, what else?
Well, I don't know. Let's see.
We packed up. I knew that when we checked in, we had $100 to spend in the restaurants, and I was doing the math, calculating it in my head, and I felt like we still had about $30 to go.
Right.
So then we went to one of the restaurants to have a very late lunch and spent $60. So we definitely used the $100 credit and then some. So, and then the one thing that was a tad bit disappointing was we went and had lunch at the same restaurant where we do the buffet breakfast every morning and realized they have a buffet lunch and a buffet dinner. And I would have loved to have seen what was on their buffet because the breakfast one was unreal and it would have been cool to see what they offered for lunch and dinner.
Yeah, that would have been nice. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. But, you know, it's all right. We still got to do that amazing seafood restaurant, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
no,
truthfully, if we had eaten a buffet lunch and a buffet dinner, we probably wouldn't have had any room for the buffet breakfast.
Well, we can't spend all day at the hotel.
That's true. We did spend quite a bit of time at that hotel. It was so lovely.
Yeah.
Loved that hotel.
Oh, it was a nice break, just to have a place to relax for a little bit and get out and go see some stuff and then go back to. So it was a good area of town, I think.
Yeah. And so we said goodbye to Osaka, hopped on the subway, and ended up in Kyoto, which you've seen a bit if you've watched our reveal of the hotel room. So we won't rehash any of that. But once we got here and checked into the hotel, we decided to go for a little walk and learning a lesson from our stay in Ginza. Because to me, we went for a walk in Ginza without paying attention to any direction and just kind of going with the flow and didn't realize how close we were to the Imperial Palace until like a day and a half later. So this time before we went on the walk, I'm like, well, let's just see what's even around our hotel. And guess what is very close to our hotel? Another castle. The Nijo Castle. Is that how you say it? No. He gets on me. Tell me how you actually say it.
I think it's Nijo.
Nijo. I keep making the J's H's.
Nijo-jo.
Nijo-jo Castle.
Yeah.
So we
I
decided...
think it's a castle.
Or palace?
It's a castle.
It's castle.
I think it's a castle.
Yeah. So we decided to walk around, and it had already started to get dark during our walk, I guess. But even just with this
Could be
short...
Nijo.
Nijo?
I don't know.
We don't know how
We'll look
you
it up.
say it.
We're terrible at this, so...
Yeah, we don't know how you say it. But we decided to go walk to it and just see what it looked like.
Yeah.
And what did we find there?
What did we find? Well, we found a castle. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that they were doing a harvest festival.
Oh, yeah. So I was looking through my feed on my phone earlier today, and I had seen where on the 22nd of this month, which was 3 days ago.
Yep, because it's now October 25th.
Yeah, 3 days ago, that there was a ceremony or a festival or beginning of the festival and like a big parade and something of the sorts.
Clearly, I did not do very good at our itinerary.
It's fine, but it was just
that we missed the festival.
A festival or the beginning of the festival here in Kyoto just 3 days ago. So I think that was like the marking of the beginning of their fall festival, right? So at least it feels.
I guess so.
It coincides. I can't remember exactly what it had to do with, but I think it was something to do with the Meiji period and era, and kind of like a, I don't know, just a, what do you call it? I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. But anyway, we'll go back to a festival commemorating some of those events.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
yeah.
But yeah, so our original plan was just to walk around the castle, but they had it opened up and were selling tickets to go on the inside, and it was called...
What's the festival called?
Naked.
Naked
is what it's called.
So I was like, are we going to get naked in the castle?
And I don't know if that's really the name of the festival, but it's the name of the event that's there.
Right.
And so what it was...
The
naked event.
But I think that's not the only naked thing going on in Kyoto, right?
I think there's a series of naked things going on.
There's a lot of nakedness in Kyoto.
Nobody was naked. That's just the name of it. Maybe it means something different.
I think what naked is naked.
Anyway, it looked interesting. And so I was intrigued and wanted to buy a ticket and go inside.
Right. Okay, so I really think what the naked is that it's fall. And the trees get naked.
Maybe that's it. That could be, because it's like the Harvest Festival.
Right.
And so what this event ended up being, we were able to get tickets for, I think it was 2,300 yen each, which was like $15 to go in. And as you entered into the castle and you went through the big gate, it ends up, I don't know when this castle was built, but all the signage was talking about how it was remodeled in 1624, I think was when it was,
right,
in honor of the emperor coming for a visit. Right. And so 2 years prior to the emperor's visit, they remodeled this castle. And then they had a big festival for his visit in 1620 something.
Right.
And they served a 7-course meal. And it went through the description of what this festival was like back then.
Right.
And so what the festival was like today was that you went in and then they had different food booths, and each food booth was recreating part of the menu of that 7-course meal that was held for the emperor.
Right.
Yeah. So it was, we weren't...
Well, what did you have?
So... Yesterday, during the recap video, we had went to Downtonbury where they had the octopus balls, but we were so full, I didn't even try them. Well, lo and behold, today I've had the opportunity to eat octopus balls twice. So once this morning on the buffet breakfast, they had octopus balls. And now at this festival, they had octopus balls. And what I've realized is this morning at breakfast, I think I did it wrong because they're deep fried. They almost look like a large hush puppy.
Yeah, or a crab cake even.
And they're deep fried. And at the breakfast buffet, I just took one of those and ate it. But at the festival tonight, they served it. They had 5 of them in a platter, and then they put on like some kind of sauce and all these different toppings on it. And I'm pretty sure at the breakfast buffet, all that stuff was there. I just didn't realize you put it on the octopus balls. So here's my assessment. They're deep fried, and so I'm expecting it to be like a hush puppy around a chunk of octopus.
Right.
But what it's really like is a chunk of octopus surrounded by a deep fried batter of some sort, but the inside of the batter is kind of, to me, it gives the impression of it not being cooked all the way. It's very loose and liquidy-ish. It's like it's like, to me, it's just not cooked all the way, but they both were like that. So I think that's just the way they are. So I'm not that big of a fan. I mean, the toppings tasted good, but I just didn't like the mushiness of the liquid. Not exactly even liquid. What do you call something whenever it's not a liquid, but not a solid? Almost like a slurry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad I tried it, but I didn't eat all of it tonight. I had 3 of the 5, and I wanted to offer up my last 2 to like some of the other people, but Nick thought that'd be weird. He's like,
Right.
don't offer up your 2 leftover octopus balls. Just throw them away.
Right. So here's the thing. I would eat them too. I like seafood, and I'm not nearly as picky as Dory makes me out to be. But the reality is that I'm trying to figure out if I've kind of got like maybe an allergy of sorts, and I don't know exactly what it is. The last couple times we've had some sushi at our restaurant downstairs from our apartment, I've had a couple nights where I just kind of felt like I've had like this reaction, like an allergy reaction, and I woke up kind of itchy one night, welts, and even like my mouth was itchy, like my teeth itched almost, kind of weird. But I think both those times I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that those were the nights when I was eating octopus sushi. It could have been something different. Who knows? But
So if there's any medical professionals that are listening to this video and you recognize these symptoms, please let us know. Because I keep telling him, well, just try it again and see if you have a reaction.
But the thing is I'm not going to do that where I don't even know where the damn hospital is. So
He's
the
logical.
point is that it could be the octopus. It may be something else. But 2 times in a row, I think it was like we had octopus in a couple of the rolls, and I've had some sort of reaction to it. Now, that's why I didn't want to try the octopus balls. Otherwise, they looked great. I really did want to eat a whole bunch of them.
They do. They look really great.
And that was one of the things that when we were coming to, where were we at? Downtonbori Street in Osaka that I wanted to try.
And they actually call them something else. There's a traditional name.
Almost like taco tada or something like that.
But the non-traditional name is octopus balls.
Yeah,
we tried those.
We call it octopus balls.
But so after
Anyway.
you go through the food stations and you're walking throughout so you're inside the gated moat of the castle, and they have it all lit up. There's different tree-lined paths. I was actually quite surprised at how much land was inside the moat. Like, I was expecting to walk in and you'd be in a building, but really you're walking in and you're like in what was probably I don't know, it seemed like it could have been a village. It was a lot of space with different structures. And the way this festival had it set up is there was different paths of between the trees, and they had lit up with fall colors to make it look like all the trees were turning colors.
Right, and some of the trees actually around here have started to turn and leaves have started to drop, but just to give it that feel and really kind of bring it out at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they played throughout the whole space. There was this music that was playing, and it kind of, I was trying to figure out how I would describe the music, and the closest I can come is describing it as spa music.
I would say it's kind of a traditional Oriental Japanese music, right?
Okay. No lyrics, no words.
No,
it was
just
all
instrumental. And, but definitely with a Japanese feel to it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Traditional Japanese feel to it.
one delightful thing that I really enjoyed about this is as you were walking along the path, you would go through certain sections, and unbeknownst to the people walking, they must have had some diffusers, because you would walk through and it would smell amazing.
Oh, yeah. And actually, well, I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait to tell you what I think.
And so you would walk through like a gate, and you could just smell like, I mean, obviously it was a diffuser making the smell because it was quite potent, but it was so pleasant. And then one of I think probably the biggest part of this festival was the light show. So along the moat wall, when you walked in, there were projectors projecting patterns and words and like a story on the moat. And so it was beautiful. And then different structures, I don't know whether it was the castle itself or another separate building, but there were a couple different structures where they would have the projector onto the white face of the building, and it would just in different patterns, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So I think they just tried to kind of tell a story while you discovered the castle, right?
Yes.
And so the cool thing is I think if I'm looking back at kind of what it was talking about throughout the different little signages and stuff like that to explain different parts of the castle. The castle existed there obviously before 16 whatever.
Right.
But there was a lot of renovations and maybe even some additions that happened in the 1600s, 1640 during the visit. I think it was the second or third shogun, right? Or during the period of the third Tokugawa emperor, maybe, or second, maybe. In any case, it was during the Edo period that it occurred, I believe, is what they were talking about. At least some of it.
Yeah, because we were trying to read the signs along the way.
And it's been a while since I studied Asian history, especially Japanese history, probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But really,
Tessa is taking an Asian history class right now, so maybe she can school us up on
it's really interesting. To give you an idea, though, this goes back to the time of the samurai. So if you know anything about the samurai period and the hierarchy and the feudal system that existed at that point in time, essentially it was like a warrior-based feudal system, kind of like Europe had with the knights and the princes and all that crap, right?
Yes.
So, but anyway, it's a very interesting part of Japanese history, and I think it was well worth it. And I really like the fact that they kind of tied into the castle with the festival, the Naked Festival. Didn't see any naked people, by the way.
No, but they did have a really cool, because it was all celebrating like the harvest moon.
Right.
There was, towards the end, you walked through this gate and they had this giant, what's supposed to look like a moon. It
looked great.
It really did look fantastic, because you come at it from a distance and it's this huge moon right in the center of the gate. And so they did a good job putting this together. And we just stumbled upon this.
Right.
Like, we were just out for a walk to see what's around our hotel, and we're like, let's give it a try.
Oh, yeah.
And I did enjoy it. It was nice. I'm wondering how different it is to explore it at night versus in the day. But I just loved the sensory experience of all the bright, colorful lights they projected. The paths all had like lanterns leading the way, plus the scent from the diffusers and the food. Like it was all in all, for a spontaneous event that we had no idea we'd be doing tonight. I liked it.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. So, they're not putting it on for me or for you.
I think they were.
They're putting it on because it's what they do. It's not just for tourists. I think it's just local, like part of their.
Yeah, I don't know.
Their little things that they do. Like when we were back home and you have like a fall festival or a harvest festival or something like that. I think it's kind of like that. But it definitely, because it's not just the venue, right?
Yes.
It's the food, and it's also a night event, because everything, like you couldn't do this during the day. I think it actually starts at 6.
Right. We just stumbled upon it right at opening.
So we thought that perhaps I thought well, let's hold off and see what time it actually ends, because things around here close up, but usually a decent, especially something that you would think for cultural places or things of that nature, they seem like everything closes early. But with this Naked Festival, it's open later
Because of the lights.
Because of the lights. And so you get to go explore that. So that's kind of cool the way they did it that way. But we were kind of hesitant at first because I'm like, they're going to shut down and we'll be rushed and it won't be fun. So maybe we'll wait till tomorrow.
And I just Googled it real quick to figure out what was going on.
But the difference was it's a night event.
Yep.
And they have their projectors set up and everything. So it's really kind of like one of those immersive experiences where they use the projectors to kind of bring new life to
the old structure.
Right?
Yes.
And tell a story.
Yeah.
Much like they had at the Tokyo National Museum. A lot of ways, and some of it the way they brought to life the different areas there at Team Lab Planet.
Yeah.
You know. And so it was really cool. I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was good. And it gave us a chance too just to walk around Kyoto, and from the moment you get off the subway, you can tell it's different here.
Definitely, for sure.
It is nothing like Tokyo's. And again, we've only seen like maybe 10 blocks of it. So we're making a rush judgment here.
Right. We made a big block, right? It's like the main roads, right? Mm-hmm. And they formed a big square.
Yeah.
And so we basically just made a big block.
Yes. But there's no giant skyscrapers here. There's no Vegas-style lights on the storefront.
Right.
There are much wider sidewalks. Because that was one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that, though there's so much efficiency that I've observed in Osaka, the one thing that I'm like, seems like it could have been improved was their sidewalk situation. Because there were so many bicyclists and pedestrians on the sidewalk, and it just seemed like everybody was going all over the place. And in the very short time we've been here in Kyoto, the sidewalks are extremely wide, and it is very clearly indicated what part of the sidewalk is the bike lane.
Right.
And there's tons of bikes here. And I remember reading that one of the recommended things to do is rent a bike while you're here because it's very flat and easy to get around. And we did see a sign where you could rent one for 24 hours for 3,000 yen. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if we'll do that because the next hotel we go to after this has free loaner bikes. So we'll probably just wait to do our biking once we're there. But yeah, it's just a lot different so far. It feels like we have left the giant hustling and bustling city life, and maybe we're going to see a little bit quieter side of town.
Yeah. So let me try to find a comparison. Okay. I always like to find comparisons so that way people can understand kind of the differences in what we're trying to explain. So, man, Tokyo, right? I don't know. Tokyo is Tokyo by itself.
And every place we stayed there was also different from each other.
It was also different, but man, it's just a big city. It's city and skyscrapers and tall buildings stacked on tall buildings for miles and miles, right?
As far as the eye can see.
As far as the eye could see. Osaka was very much like that where we were.
Yeah, it still was. As far as the eye could see, except you could see mountains in the distance.
Right.
So you knew the buildings did eventually end at the mountains.
And so both Tokyo and Osaka have kind of a New York feel.
Yeah, I can see that.
As you go to different places in New York, they're a little bit different. Like the streets are a little bit different. The environment's a little bit different. The people are a bit different. And so, but the one thing that's kind of steady and constant is the giant, tall skyscrapers everywhere, right?
And the giant light up billboards, the electronic billboards.
Exactly. So thinking of that, when we do that in comparison, and you come to Osaka, I'm like, or not Osaka, but Kyoto. It's like, what does that feel like? And to me, it kind of feels like back in DC, back home. in the Arlington, D.C. metro area, right?
Because one thing about DC is they have a restriction on how tall the buildings can
Right.
be.
So
And here it seems the same way. You still have multi-story buildings, but nothing crazy high
Right,
that
so-
we've seen yet.
right, that we've seen. I know I think they have actually a Kyoto Tower and some other things like that. But one thing that I noticed was, while we were walking around the castle, right? Within the castle walls, it was almost like you were segregated from the city of Kyoto.
Oh, yeah. You would not have even known you were in a city when you were inside the castle walls.
Right.
You couldn't see any outside lights, outside buildings, or hear outside sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you were immersed in that experience.
Whereas in Kyoto or Osaka, when we were at Osaka Castle,
Oh, yes.
I mean, there's giant buildings in several different places from
Oh
there,
yeah, because
right?
when we were there, you'd face one way and take a picture of the castle, and then you'd turn around the other way to get a picture of the whole cityscape. Like it was just back to back, right against each other, and no hiding the fact that Osaka Castle is in a giant city. But this Nijo, we'll figure out how to say it. Nijo Castle. It felt like you were like back in medieval times.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Where the samurais walked.
Asian medieval times.
That's right. Even better.
Yeah. Any other things of note to share about day 10?
Well, let me just go back and think about this real quick. We did breakfast. We didn't work out.
No, didn't work it 2 days in a row. We skipped it. This place has a gym though, so
Did we go? What did we do?
we filmed the day 9
so
recap.
we did go outside the hotel into the upstairs. Yeah, I don't know, the building.
Courtyard.
The courtyard. The Osaka Grand Front, I think they call it. And filmed the other recap, right?
Yeah. And then we started packing.
And we had lunch.
A very late lunch.
2:00, I think.
Oh, I know something. Whenever we were taking the subway here, I learned an important lesson. So I got spoiled in Tokyo because it appeared to me in Tokyo that when you had a subway going to a particular location on a particular platform, the train, it just kept like one after the other would come. It didn't matter which one you hopped on. They were all going to the same place. And so it didn't matter what time you showed up. And so one thing that fooled me whenever we were in Osaka and we were trying to take the train to Kyoto, we knew it's this train line on this platform and it had a time. And when we got to the platform, another train was there with their doors open and it was like 6 minutes early. And I'm like, well, it's got to be the train. So we hopped on. Ends up, it wasn't the train. So they must have trains going to different places on the same line, on the same platform. And you have to pay attention to what time you're boarding that particular train.
Right.
And it really didn't derail us, too much, because we just ended up, we noted, derail train, sorry. I tickled myself. So it didn't take us out of the way at all. I was just noticing on our app, the stops were not the same stops. And I think the difference was maybe we didn't get on the express line when we were supposed to. So all we did was just get off.
We got on the express, but we didn't get on the super express.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. So we went ahead and got off and then found the different platform and paid attention to the time and then got on the correct train.
Right. And
so it was an important lesson.
When we got on, I was like, it said that the train was leaving at 1600, or like, was it 1600? It was, so I think it was 1600, but anyway, we were like 5 or 6 minutes early, and I was, or maybe closer to 10 minutes early. But the point was, I was like, perhaps this is not our train. Trains around here don't run off schedule.
Yeah, that's one thing that they're adamant about is that the trains are reliable, always on time.
And if they're not, there's usually some sort of announcement or something that's made, and you know about it, right? If it's delayed, you'll know about it. I think the most we've seen a delay was like 2 minutes
Yeah.
on any train. But I've never seen a train run early. But that's fine because you don't want to have a train running early when you're not supposed to be on it. So the point is that we found the right train, but it's not necessarily, I don't know, trying to think about it.
Well, what I've learned is it's important to not only pay attention to the train name
Right, the
and
train name.
destination and what platform number, but now we also really need to pay attention to the departure time. Because
Departure times,
previously I
yes.
didn't pay any attention to the departure time because it felt like in Tokyo you just get on whichever train, they go one after the other to the same place.
Right.
If you're on that line, on that platform, they just go one after the other.
But what I was getting at is the departure time of the other train essentially led to us still having that delay of time between the time that we actually got on and the time that we caught the other train that we got off and changed the platforms for. It eventually made it to the same platform at the same time. So I feel like what we did was we hit an earlier train and then we stopped and we slowed ourselves down to catch the same train that we would have caught
Yeah.
in Osaka.
Yeah.
That's what I think we did.
I think you're right.
Because one was a deluxe or not was not a super, what did I call it? Not deluxe.
Super Express.
One was the express
And the other was Super Express.
and then one was the super express. And the big difference was we started seeing stations that we weren't that weren't scheduled on the train that we thought we were catching. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what's going on here? So essentially it was going to hit, 8 stations in between versus the Super Express, which was almost a direct route.
Yeah.
And I think those were the differences. So otherwise...
Yeah. Otherwise, we got it figured out. All is
we were
well.
on the right track and we were going the right direction. It was just going to take us longer eventually,
Yeah.
I think.
Which leads me to believe it can't be the same track or the trains would hit each other. So there must be more to it where you board and then they must...
When you get to the stations, they
come
divert
in, yeah.
them.
Because otherwise they
Yeah.
run into each other.
Right. But from Osaka, it was the same line.
Yes.
Same track.
But yeah, it ended up being quite easy to get here. Once we were here and walking around, I'm sure you are worried, but you do not have to worry. There are 7-Elevens every block. We can still get egg salad sandwiches
or
anytime
Food
we
Mart.
want. Yep, there's still Food Marts and Lawson's, saw those too.
No.
So all the same standard quick serve places exist here.
Mm-hmm.
But I am excited to see more of this
And
town.
you're right, it does feel different.
It feels very, very different here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
A lot more, I feel like, I say a lot more tourist, but what I really mean is the ratio of people. It seems there's more tourists here than the ratio back in the big city where you have so many people. The ratio of tourists was lower. Here, it seems like everybody, at least right where we're at, seems to be tourists. Have you noticed that?
I mean, I did see a lot of people I thought might be tourists, but I also saw a lot of people I thought might just be local tourism.
Maybe. And again, we've only been here a couple hours. We're
Right.
probably rushing to judgment.
Another thing, too, is in addition to what we were talking about as far as building height and kind of the feel of the places, to give you kind of like a, I don't know, example of what to kind of base it off if you're familiar with like the DC area or New York and stuff like that, between the places that we were traveling, is also like here, there is so much space, not just and the roads, as far as like one of the main roads, and it's not like I don't feel like it's a highway. I just feel like it's one of the main arteries around for travel. It was like 6 lanes, and then on each side of those 6 lanes is almost 2 more lanes for just pedestrians, which is
Yeah.
the sidewalk.
The sidewalks
So-
are very large here,
They're
and I
very-
hope it stays that way because
They're
it's
very
nice.
wide on the main areas of travel. So some of the roads will have basically a whole lane for pedestrian travel, and then even another half a lane or so for bicycles outside of the normal flow of traffic. Now, we haven't noticed any honking or anything else, but we have noticed that the traffic seems a little bit more congested here. In the sense that they kind of stack up closer to each other. And the vehicles themselves, the public transport, everything is maybe not quite as, what would I say, sanitized. It seems like it's a little bit louder. It's a little bit more congested. It's a little bit more what you would expect in kind of that smaller city area.
Okay.
You know, because I think I've noticed the same thing in when we've been in larger cities. There is a lot of traffic, in like Chicago and New York and places like that, but at the same time, comparatively, a lot of people like the side streets and the not main thoroughfares don't seem as congested. Like traffic is just not as busy through those. It seems to me anyway. I don't know. I know what you think, but
I don't know. I haven't really put that much thought into it. I'll work on observing that.
in any case, overall, it does have a different feel.
I think I'm going to like it here. I'm excited to see more. And so...
And what'd you say earlier about how it's like we started at the busiest place?
Oh, yeah. So
and
it
we're progressively moving.
Yeah, because we started in Tokyo, which was, of course, like the largest city in the world. Then we went to Osaka, which was just equally a very busy city. And it feels like now that we're in Kyoto, maybe we're getting a little less city. And then after this, we go just to the foothills of Mount Fuji, where we should be like nowhere near the city. So interestingly enough, without really planning it that way, it feels like we're going from extreme city to the opposite of that before we head on home.
And this is the third city?
Yes.
Third
Well, of 4 cities that we're going to go to.
So Tokyo, major metropolitan area. I would say that area is probably... We were several cities within that.
Yes.
But, what do you call it? Tokyo
Prefecture?
Metropolitan area, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. The city. But if we conclude soon, we'll keep it under 40 minutes. So let's do, I think we've covered it all. Haven't we?
Yeah, I don't need to keep talking.
I know. So thank you for watching our Day 10 wrap-up. And I am so excited about Day 11. I'm not even going to tell you what we're doing because it is so different than anything we've done yet. So stay tuned for sure because tomorrow night's film should be interesting.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night.
Yes, have a good night. And we're going to finish not the whole bottle, just our glass. But cheers.